How you think I feel to see another MC get paid? Using my rap style, and I'm playing the background. Meanwhile, I ain't with that. You can't forget that. You take my style. I'm taking it back.
970 WMAY, the news and talk of Springfield. This is Frank McNeil. Freestyle Friday. Anything you want to talk about. And that was a conversation between Mike Houston and Mike Coffey. How you like me now? All right, ladies and gentlemen, Freestyle Friday. And we're going to have some fun this evening. All right, I got a call, and I think this is my call. Scott?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Scott McFarland, District 186 candidate. What's your sub-district?
Sub-District 3.
Sub-District 3 on the north end of Springfield. And you had an issue that you and I sort of agreed on it, and you said, you'd like to express your opinion, so I wanted to give you this opportunity.
Well, first off, thanks for having me, Frank. I wanted to give a little background on what's going on up here. I'm running for school board in Sub-District 3. Reason why I'm running is because I believe I'm the best, most qualified candidate. I've actually been certified to teach middle school and high school, so I have teaching experience, and also I have administrative experience, going with working with budgets in the millions of dollars and monitoring and reviewing programs and ensuring they're spending their money wisely. So I think I'm somebody who can get on the board right away and get to work. One of the things we wanted to talk about was there was a forum last week at
Yes.
Southeast. Springfield Parents Public Schools put it on. And there was a question about where your children go to school in the district. And actually, my daughter is too young to go to the district yet, but she will be going to Fairview Elementary School when she gets of age. And one of my opponents point out that she feels that if you don't have a student currently in the district, you shouldn't be allowed to be on the school board. Obviously, I disagree with her on that. I think our schools are...
I do disagree with your opponent on that. And I don't think it's a pre-qualifier that your kids have to go to school. I think the qualifier for me is that you have an interest in 186, you have an interest in what happens to kids, you have an interest in education and the educational process, and that you're willing to work hard at trying to improve it in Springfield.
Completely agree with you there, Frank. I think we desperately need people who are willing to step up right now. Our school district needs community involvement. I think we have good schools, good teachers. We need to be putting the resources into those schools to give our kids the education they deserve, and that's why I'm running.
Well, and the point of it is, I don't live in Sub-District 3, but I think that I will offer anyone who calls my show the opportunity to express themselves about the opinion. But, the only, one of the reasons I wanted to touch base with you and hear what you had to say was because and this is not a negative, it's just that I just don't agree that you have to have kids, because there are several members, well, at least one or two on the board right now that don't have kids in 186, and I think they do a decent job, a good job, quite frankly, of representing the areas that they, representing their areas. So, I just think that putting a tab that you have to have a kid in the district, I think doesn't accept the fact that you are a committed individual, knowledgeable individual, and you're willing to put forth the work that allows you to be a good school board member and to be able to listen to the issues of the community and the parents that do have kids in the district.
And one thing I want to map out too, Sub-District 3 goes from about 7th Street over to out past I-55 and from Clear Lake north to Sangamon. So it's a large chunk of the northeast end of town. And I completely agree with you. I think what it comes down to is our schools are the anchors of our neighborhoods, and we need everyone, all hands on deck right now, to make sure our kids are getting the education they deserve. And I've talked to, I've knocked on over 2,000 doors and talked to hundreds of folks, and the question I get the most is, who's our representative? The reason why I'm running is to make sure that they don't have to ask that question. I've already pledged to do town hall meetings throughout the district. I want to make sure I'm going to all our schools. I've already talked to several of our principals in this area and outside of my district. I want to be a representative for my neighborhood. That's my main goal.
Let me get a take on where you think the district is. I challenged my listening audience a couple of weeks ago Scott, on the fact that I said, you guys call when there's something going wrong in 186, and you beat up the superintendent, you beat up the teachers, you beat up the principals when there's and I said, for this year, since the beginning of the year up until now, there's been very little going wrong in 186 in the context of controversy, and nobody's calling saying what a good job is going on at 186, how the district has improved, how the kids are improving, or anything. It's all negative. How do you change that mindset?
Well, I think it's one of those things where we have to kind of redo the way the school board and the superintendent are doing business on the PR side. I agree with you. Things are getting better. Let me give you an example. Lanphier, they have their new Principal Doss over there. The official numbers won't be out until the end of the year, but his suspension rate over at Lanphier has dropped dramatically. And it's not just the lack of suspensions. The students seem to be having a better time over there. There's more respect among the hallways. I actually toured the school for quite some time with the principal, and the students were honestly enjoying being there. And I think, again, this is a school that's an anchor to our neighborhood, and I want to make sure we continue to put the resources into it. One thing we tend to do with the school district is they make a decision, and then they want to discuss the decision. Example being Feischens. The issue of Feischens would have been much less if the parents and the teachers and the students at Feischens had been involved in the discussion before the decision was made and put out in the SJR. I actually came out as soon as that happened. There was a lot of parents at the school board meeting that night when the SJR mistakenly said that it was going to be on the agenda. And all it would have taken was one school board member to move to amend the agenda to let those parents talk. Mm-hmm. And no one did it. If I was on the board, I would have done that. When it comes down to it, a compromise was made, and I actually agree with the idea of the compromise of, working with the capital program, making sure that no students being removed from their school. They'll just phase out the grades if the students advance. I'm okay with that compromise. The problem was just the way it was come about.
Well, and process sometimes leads itself to a better solution, of course. But I think at the end result, everybody was heard and everybody had their opportunity to express their concerns. And that was what I think the end result was. Everybody got a chance to express their concern, but I think, and Scott, I'm one of those volunteers over at Feischens Capital Academy, and I also am a part of Real Men Read, and that's also the school where I volunteer. And I can say that Mrs. Johnson is doing an outstanding job over at Feischens, and the Capital Academy, I mentor one young man there. And let me tell you, you can't ask for a better neighborhood school. And so I can understand the parents' concern, but at the same time, you got to look at the big picture, and I'm sure you do, that this Capital Academy, I think, is going to turn things around in Springfield, and so far it has. It's turning around a number of students and making them quality students, and not saying that those that are not attending there are not quality students, but I think we're showing our best and our brightest.
Mm-hmm. And, as somebody who did this in the classroom, I like the idea of reaching outside the box and looking at what other districts are doing, innovative programs like the Capital Academy, and seeing what can work in Springfield. All too often we fall into the trap, well, that would never work here, or that's not how we've done it in the past. I think we need to start looking at more innovative ways. And that's one thing I'll give Dr. Milton a lot of props for, is he's looking at new and innovative ways of doing things.
Well, change is always difficult, and Springfield is one of those cities and districts that seems averse to change sometimes. And, it takes a while to get, it's like, I grew up in the South, and they say it's hard to turn a mule around. And Springfield's sort of like that, it's just they got the blinders on.
One big mule, huh?
Yeah, they blinders on and they go forward. They don't know how to look around and say maybe I need to change direction sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And, and what it comes down to is, again, I think that comes to the community input and the transparency we need on the board. There's a lot of good things happening with the district. There's a lot of things I would fight to change as well, but we need people on the board who are going to be willing to speak up. And that's one of the things I'm not afraid to do.
Well,
and with my background, I can jump in there day one. That's what I'm hoping to do.
Right. Well, I can only say good luck in your campaign, Scott. I look forward to seeing you in the future. Hopefully, things go well for you. But, I'm not endorsing any candidate. I have a district that I have to stay in and mind my own business. But I did want to give you the opportunity because I don't think it should be a prerequisite that you have to have kids in the district in order to be a good school board member.
And I think come April 5th, we're going to see that a lot of people in the north end of Springfield are going to agree with you and I. If I can do a quick plug, if people want to find out more about me or get my contact information, scottmcfarland.us. And I've actually got my personal phone number on there, and everything I've put out has my personal number. So when you call that number, you get me. And that's the way it will be when I'm on the board.
All right, Scott. Thanks for the call, man.
Thanks, Frank. Have a good one.
All right, you too.
Bye.
All right, that was Scott McFarland, and I wanted to give him an opportunity. And if any other candidates want to get a chance to talk to me, 629-7970, 970 WMAY is always willing to listen to candidates for office and share your opinions about what you think is best for the district and why you think you're the best candidate. I'm always willing to listen and give you that chance. So anyway, we're going to get back and we're going to continue our little conversation about how you like me now with the two candidates for mayor and what else is going on. But anyway, right now it's 6:20 and 8 complete meals for under $4 at Culver's Western Wabash, and we're going to be right back for Freestyle Friday.
970 W.